Hey folks, in this video we're going to discuss the HPA purchase options that are available from Wolverine Airsoft. I'm going to talk about each one of their different engine styles and what they're designed for. Then I'm actually going to walk you through buying a custom engine from their site, and specifically a MP5 style for a teammate of ours. So first let's take a look at the different offerings, different engines. Let's take a look at the four types. I've got the SMP in there just to show you the Gen 1 version. So the Inferno version here, the build that I use, is actually probably the most versatile of the bunch. High rounds per second, excellent reliability, just like all their products, and it does a real good job, easy to manage. It's actually probably the one that most players are going to use. In fact, I think 9 of the 12 people on our squad are running the Inferno. Great one to start with. You're not going to be disappointed with any of the performance. Now the next one is the Hydra. We actually don't use any of them, but they are out there. It's a clone of the Inferno. The only difference is that, well, aside from being green, it's made for offset nozzles. So your P90s, your Thompsons, your M14s, if it's not a center nozzle, then you're going to use the Hydra. If it's a center nozzle, you're going to use the Inferno. It's that simple. The Reaper is the next center nozzle variant out there. It's also a closed bolt. And this one's actually built for more of a DMR precision weapon, I like to say. Our guys are using them in their DMRs, and they like them just because, there's a lot of precision tuning into these models. So if you're building a DMR, go with that Reaper. You're not going to be disappointed. And then of course the last version is the Bolt M system. This one I'm actually using in 2 of our snipers. This is where if you have a spring sniper rifle like a Bar 10 or VSR or Silverback and you want to convert it to HPA, this is the system you'd use. Excellent performance. Functions just like a spring, just there's obviously no resistance, and your pullback is only about an inch or two. So big saver there. And that's all the 4 models. Now that we've talked about each different model, let's go ahead with that actual build that I was talking about. I'm actually going to throw up a link right here for the build options on their website, and I'm going to walk you through each individual option. So first and foremost, after you've picked your engine, in this case we're going to use the Inferno, you need to go ahead and figure out which line option you want. In that case, you have 2 options, the standard and the filtered. The only difference between the two is that the filtered within the line itself has a metal mesh filter built into it, which keeps dust and debris from getting inside your gun. It's a $20 investment to keep your weapon always shooting in prime condition. The next option there is your gun type. This is simply your gearbox model, what you have available. Since I'm building one for an MP5, I'm going to use a V2. Next we have the electronics, and there's 3 options there. There's the Spartan, the Premium, and the Bluetooth. As we discussed in another video, there's 2 chips in your gun normally, the trigger and the FCU. The Spartan is only 1 chip that does both functions. So with the Spartan, that actually gives you some bit of, I'm going to call it a pro, an enhancement if you will. Since it's only 1 chip, there's actually less hardware going into your gun. So if you have a gun like an MP5, doesn't have a lot of maneuverability inside of it, and it's pretty tight in the body, Spartan might be for you. This is the option that our teammate's going to go with. Since there's no FCU, everything else, like the battery, will actually go into the hand grip. And then you'll have the cable coming out the hand grip. Just a cool option so you can have a little bit smaller build, right? A little bit cheaper build. But the modifications can actually take a little bit longer than your Premium or your Bluetooth. It's all managed by the trigger and your selector. There's a video on how to do it. It probably will take you about 5 or 10 minutes to figure it out. And once you do, you're going to be able to manage it and build it just like any other electronic out there. Now, the second one I mentioned is the premium. Same one I've shown you guys in the other videos. It's the 2-chip system that has the dials on here to change your dwell and your rounds per second. When it comes to managing your gun, I find this to be the simplest method, the simplest type of chip versus the Spartan, because we've managed both of them before. Just turning a dial. It's that simple. This will be in a buffer tube or in your stock somewhere, and you just take a little screwdriver and you change it. Very convenient, very fast. Now, if you're looking for the El Primo package, something that not only is super easy to manage, but is even easier, go with the Bluetooth. I've actually been running that for my DMR, and a couple of the guys have made the jump to it. It looks exactly like the premium chip. It's just blue. Has the standard dials, does all the same functionality here, but it will also connect to your phone via Bluetooth, and you can change the settings on the go. You can get very specific with the settings. Everything from setting up security on it. You can set up your tournament lock on it so you can't manipulate the settings in a game, which is a big time saver for your larger competitions. You can change your firing modes, your rounds per second, your dwell. Everything on there is right at your fingertips on your phone. And just for a quick snippet, a quick preview of how cool and time-saving that could be, I was watching an engagement a couple weeks ago on a field, and I usually run single fire only for my semi and my full auto. They're both single for me. Well, this particular engagement was full auto for everybody, and obviously I can't keep up with that if I got 10 guys shooting at me. So I pulled my phone out in the middle of the match, started pressing buttons, and I was getting yelled at by my team. Stop texting, stop looking at the internet, or whatever. I'm like, I'm changing my gun settings, 1 minute. And I changed it to 25 rounds per second, full auto, and I changed my single to a 3-round burst. And then we started, massacring everybody, and we were able to get out of that bunker. And everybody was like, okay, now we're going Bluetooth. So that's a cool, convenient point for the Bluetooth engine. For this particular build, though, we're going to do the Spartan from our bud. Next is the nozzle, where you're actually picking the nozzle that is made for your particular model. Do keep in mind that sometimes there might be different versions of them. I know there's about 3 different scars on here, so keep that in mind. The M4 is pretty standard. If you have any questions about the nozzles, or really any of these, give a call to Wolverine Airsoft. They have the most friendliest staff, and they really know their product well. A couple seconds on the line, you can have an answer. It's that convenient. I really like their support. Last bit is the stock. We actually haven't had the opportunity to test any of this equipment, but I'll give you a quick description of them. The Quake has a mechanical device in your buffer tube that when you pull the trigger, it actually has a recoil, so it's almost like a gun simulation for recoil in your stock. Pretty cool if you're looking for the most realistic weapon possible. The Wraith will actually use CO2 canisters in your weapon instead of HPA air tank on your back. Does all the same thing. The only big difference that people are griping about is you only get about 500 to 1,000 rounds per CO2 cartridge. So when it comes to reloading on the battlefield, there's going to come that moment where you got to throw another one of these into your system and reload your gun. Again, we haven't had a chance to really review or test any of these products. We've ordered 2 Wraiths to test out with some MTW builds that we're really excited about, but I really don't have any other information for you. For this particular build, he just wants no stock, which is fine. Regulator. So we've talked about the regulators before. I'll say this. If you order the regulator with the system here, just like I'm doing here, you've got the with line or without line. I'm just going to do a with line. They're going to give you the standard black regulator with a black line. If you want a different color, order the regulator and the line separately. Wolverine's site has, I think, 5 different colors for the regulator, and they've got quite a few different colors for the lines. If you want something else, like maybe a coyote brown or something like that, eVic, Airsoft GI, they've all got options for you on their sites as well. Something to think about. But he wants all black. Then last is the Titan battery. Remember that little battery that you need for your chips. So go ahead and get that as well. So now I've got my build complete. You can see my build here. $498 for everything except the tank, which is pretty cool because you're buying it all in one go. Here's something else that's really nice about Wolverine. After I'm paying for this in my cart, shipping is $7 to Virginia for 2 day shipping. It takes them 1 day to process it, 2 days. So within 3 to 4, I've got it in my hands. I'm building it. I'm ready for the weekend game. They're extremely fast and cheap with the shipping, which is why we use them so much instead of using, one of the main vendors like eVic or Airsoft GI. And again, the last thing I'm going to need is a tank, and I've had a video on tanks already. So all in all, this particular teammate's going to spend about $560 for the tank, regulator, and the engine for the entry-level designed internals and everything. So I know this video has helped our team out quite a bit. I hope it helps you out. For more information coming out, as we're going to do one of these every week, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you get the latest news when it pops out. And hopefully you'll get your own HPA build soon, and we'll see you out on the field. Thank you.